Here's the number that keeps financial advisors busy and keeps the rest of us lying awake at night. $1 million. That's supposedly the magic finish line for retirement, the golden number everyone's chasing. Honestly, it kind of feels like somebody said it at a dinner party 40 years ago, and the whole world just nodded and went along with it. So who actually has $1 million sitting in their retirement account? Is it your neighbor with the perfect lawn? Your old college friend who cashed out of some tech company? Or maybe that quiet guy at the office, the one who eats the same boring lunch every day and still drives a beat-up 2003 sedan? You just never know. Let's dig in and find out who's actually winning this retirement savings game. Before we start comparing ourselves to everyone else, let's talk about what $1 million actually gets you in retirement, because it might not be what you're imagining. When most people hear $1 million, their brain basically short circuits. It sounds enormous. And yes, it's a lot of money. But here's the part that might make you spit out your morning coffee. If you retire at 65 with exactly $1 million and follow the 4% withdrawal rule, which is basically the golden rule of retirement planning, you'd be pulling out $40,000 a year before taxes. That's it. Now add in the average Social Security payment, which is about $1,976 a month in 2025. That's roughly $23,700 more per year. Put it together, and you're looking at around $63,700 annually. Can you live on that? Sure, but you're not chartering yachts or sipping drinks on the Italian coast. You're more like clipping coupons at Costco and getting genuinely excited when Denny's sends you that senior discount card, which honestly isn't the worst life, but it's probably not the retirement dream most people are picturing when they obsess over hitting seven figures. So how many people are actually hitting this $1 million mark? The honest answer might surprise you, in both directions. According to Vanguard's 2024 data, only about 3.8% of individual 401k accounts have crossed the $1 million line. That's a tiny slice. But zoom out a little. When you look at total household savings, combining both spouses, IRAs, 401s, every account in the mix, about 13% of households between ages 55 and 64 have reached $1 million or more, according to the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances. That still means 87% of households close to retirement age haven't hit that number. The typical retirement account balance for Americans aged 55 to 64 is around $185,000. For those aged 65 to 74, it bumps up only slightly to about $200,000. So if you're reading this thinking you're way behind and everyone else has it figured out, you don't have to feel that way. Statistically speaking, most people are in the exact same boat as you. The $1 Million Retirement Club is much smaller than financial media makes it seem. You're not failing. You're actually pretty normal. And now at least you know it. Okay, so who's actually in that club? Let's start with the most obvious group, people who make a lot of money. Shocking, right? According to Fidelity, the average 401k balance for people earning $150,000 or more sits around $450,000. And those in the top 10% of earners, think $200,000 and above, are far more likely to eventually cross the $1 million line. We're talking doctors, lawyers, corporate executives, successful business owners, and that one person from your high school who became a consultant and somehow lives better than everyone else, even though nobody really knows what they actually do all day. The big advantage these folks have is simple. They can save large amounts without feeling it. The 401k contribution limit in 2025 is $23,500. If you're 50 or older, you can add another $7,500 in catch-up contributions. That's $31,000 a year in just your 401k alone. Toss in IRA contributions of up to $7,000, plus a $1,000 catch-up, and the numbers stack up fast. When you're bringing home $25,000 a month, saving $3,000 of it doesn't mean eating plain rice for dinner. You can still eat at nice restaurants, take real vacations, and buy whatever overpriced organic snacks you want at Whole Foods. But here's the twist. Even plenty of high earners never reach $1 million. Why? Lifestyle inflation. It's sneaky and it's brutal. More money comes in, and suddenly you need a bigger house, a nicer car, private school for the kids, and expensive family trips every summer. There are people earning $400,000 a year who somehow still feel broke at the end of every month. A 2024 survey found that 49% of Americans earning $100,000 or more say they live paycheck to paycheck. A high salary is a great tool, but it's not a guarantee of anything on its own. The next group didn't necessarily earn the most money, they just got started before everyone else, and that timing made all the difference. These are the people who began saving and investing in their 20s, not just tossing a little cash into a low-interest savings account, but actually contributing seriously to retirement accounts while the rest of us were spending money on concert tickets and ordering guacamole at Chipotle without even pausing to think about the extra $2. The secret weapon? Compound interest. And the numbers are genuinely mind-blowing once you see them laid out. If you invest $500 a month starting at age 25, earning an average annual return of 7%, which is actually conservative compared to the S&P 500's historical average of around 10%, you'd have approximately $615,000 by age 55. Push that to $700 a month, and you're looking at about $862,000. At $800 a month, you'd be just under $1 million, around $985,000. And at $900 a month, you'd cross the line with roughly $1,108,000. But here's the example that really drives it home. If you invest just $10,000 at age 20 and never add a single dollar more, at a 7% annual return, you'd have over $76,000 by age 55. Wait until age 30 to do the exact same thing, and you'd end up with only about $38,000. Starting just 10 years earlier literally doubles your money without doing anything extra. And yet, when most of us are in our 20s, retirement feels like something that happens to other people, something way off in the distance. So we wait. And waiting, it turns out, is one of the most expensive decisions we'll ever make. Now we're getting into territory that makes some people uncomfortable, but it's important, so let's talk about it honestly. A big chunk of the people who reach $1 million in retirement savings didn't get there purely on discipline and hard work alone. Some of them got a serious head start because of family money, and pretending otherwise would be ignoring a massive piece of the puzzle. According to the Federal Reserve, baby boomers are expected to pass down roughly $84 trillion to their children and grandchildren over the next 20 years. That is not a typo. The Survey of Consumer Finances shows that about 21% of households have received an inheritance at some point, with a typical inheritance value of around $72,000. Some people inherit cash directly. Others inherit a house that has been quietly gaining value for decades. And some inherit something a little less obvious but just as powerful: the simple advantage of graduating college with zero student loan debt because mom and dad covered the bill. That last one is huge. The average student loan balance for a bachelor's degree in 2024 is around $30,000. For graduate degrees, it can easily climb past $100,000. When you're not sending $500 to $1,000 every single month to a loan servicer for the next 20 years, that money can go straight into your retirement accounts instead. Over a full career, not carrying that debt is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in potential savings. Nobody likes to admit how much family background shapes financial outcomes, but understanding it isn't about making excuses. It's about seeing the full picture clearly. This might be the most interesting group of all, because these people don't have massive salaries or family money behind them. They just made a decision, and they stuck to it for decades. The median household income in the U.S. is about $80,610 as of 2023. These folks aren't far from that number. But they drive 10-year-old Hondas that run just fine. They pack lunch every single day. They take road trips instead of flying to Europe. and every spare dollar gets quietly dropped into index funds like clockwork. It sounds boring, and honestly, it kind of is, but the results are anything but. There are real, documented stories of ordinary working people, teachers, janitors, gas station attendants, who died with millions in the bank. Take Ronald Reed, a janitor and gas station worker from Vermont. He never had a fancy job or a big salary, but when he passed away in 2014, he left behind an $8 million fortune built entirely through frugal living and steady dividend stock investing. $8 million from a janitor's wages. Now, the lesson here isn't to suffer through life and die as the richest person in the cemetery. It's about balance. You can save 15 to 20% of your income, invest it wisely, and still actually enjoy your life. Take the trip. Buy good coffee sometimes. Just don't build a lifestyle that costs more than you earn. The key thing these people understood is something most of us miss completely. It's not about how much money flows into your hands. It's about how much of it you hold onto and put to work. The average American saves somewhere between 3.6% and 5% of their income. People who retire with $1 million or more typically saved 15 to 20% or higher consistently for decades. That gap right there explains almost everything. Then there are the entrepreneurs, the people who bet on themselves and won. According to the Kauffman Foundation, about 50% of small businesses survive past their first 5 years, and only around 33% make it to the 10-year mark. Those are not easy odds. But the ones who do make it, they can build wealth faster than almost any other path available to a regular person. Sell a successful business, and you could walk away with $1 million or more from a single transaction. Build one that generates strong, consistent cash flow, and you can max out your retirement accounts every year while also growing equity in something you might eventually sell for a big payday. It's one of the few situations where you can win on multiple fronts at the same time. The catch, though, and it's a big one, is that starting a business is genuinely risky. For every founder who sells their company for life-changing money, there are dozens of others who poured their savings, their time, and their energy into an idea that never took off. Entrepreneurship is a real path to wealth, but it is absolutely not a sure thing. No matter what every guy with a podcast and an online course tries to tell you. So, yes, some millionaire retirees got there by building something from scratch, but it came with real risk, real sacrifice, and a lot of uncertainty along the way. It's a path, just not a guaranteed one. Here's something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. Where you live might have a bigger impact on your retirement savings than almost anything else on this list. The cost of living gap between American cities is staggering. Living in San Francisco costs about 94% more than living in Houston. The median rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Manhattan runs around $4,500 a month. In Nashville, that same apartment costs closer to $1,650. That's a difference of $2,850 every single month, or $34,200 every single year. Think about what that means in real terms. Someone earning $70,000 in Knoxville, Tennessee can save far more aggressively than someone earning $120,000 in San Francisco or New York City. The person with the smaller salary in the cheaper city might actually come out ahead. Now take that $34,200 annual difference and invest it for 30 years at a 7% return. You'd end up with approximately $3.2 million. The location advantage alone could quietly turn someone into a multimillionaire. According to the Council for Community and Economic Research, the most expensive American cities carry a cost of living index of around 180 to 200. More affordable cities like Memphis, Oklahoma City, and Wichita sit down around 85 to 90. That means the exact same lifestyle costs more than twice as much depending on your zip code. Geography isn't destiny. but it is a really powerful financial lever that most people never think to pull. Now let's talk about one of the quietest wealth building advantages out there: two paychecks, two retirement accounts, and two employer matches working together at the same time. When both partners in a household are earning solid incomes and both are contributing to retirement accounts, the math shifts dramatically in their favor. The average employer 401k match is about 4.7% of salary, according to Vanguard's data. So let's run the numbers on a real example. Say both partners are each earning $75,000 a year. Each contributes 10% of their salary to their 401k, and each gets a 5% employer match. That's $15,000 going into retirement accounts from their own contributions alone, not counting the match. Add in employer contributions, and you're looking at somewhere between $22,500 and $30,000 flowing into retirement accounts every single year, depending on how generous each plan is. Keep that up for 25 years with a 7% average annual return, and you'd be sitting on approximately $1.9 million. Stretch it to 30 years, and that number climbs to around $2.8 million. Together, two average incomes, consistently invested, can quietly build generational wealth without anyone ever earning a flashy salary or landing a big windfall. It's not glamorous, but the numbers don't lie. Here's the part where we bring it all together, because none of this information matters if you don't actually do something with it. First, the most important thing to understand is this: you don't necessarily need exactly $1 million to retire comfortably. That number is a helpful guideline, not a hard rule carved in stone. Your real number depends on where you live, what your lifestyle costs, whether you own your home, what debts you carry, and a dozen other personal factors that are completely unique to you. If you own your home outright, carry no debt, and live somewhere with a reasonable cost of living, you might retire just fine on $500,000 plus Social Security. If you plan to travel constantly, live in an expensive city, and have costly hobbies, you might need $2 to $3 million. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. Financial planners generally suggest having 10 to 12 times your annual salary saved by retirement. If you earn $80,000 a year, that's $800,000 to $960,000. Not even quite $1 million, and you'd probably be just fine. So what should you actually do right now? A few simple things that aren't exciting but genuinely work. At minimum, contribute enough to your 401k to get your full employer match. That's free money, an instant 50 to 100% return depending on your plan. Open a Roth IRA if you're eligible. The income phase-out for single filers in 2025 starts at $150,000. Invest in low-cost index funds. The average expense ratio for index funds is around 0.05% compared to 0.65% for actively managed funds. That difference compounds significantly over time. Every time you get a raise, increase your savings rate by 1% before you get used to the extra money. Pay down high-interest debt. The average credit card rate as of 2024 is around 24.37%, which is basically a guaranteed loss every month you carry a balance. And build an emergency fund covering 3 to 6 months of expenses so that when life gets messy, you're not forced to raid your retirement savings to survive. None of these tips will go viral. Nobody's making a trending video about maxing out their 401k contribution. But this quiet, consistent, unglamorous approach is exactly how most ordinary people build real wealth over time. If you're nowhere near $1 million right now, that's okay. Start where you are. Save what you can. Invest it consistently. And then let time and compound interest do the heavy lifting. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.